Well, senators in Washington, they are now drafting their version of the bill known as One Big Beautiful Bill.
The proposed legislation is facing a lot of pushback, including from one of Maine's U.S. senators. News Center Maine's Raya Wooten reports.
President Donald Trump calls his budget bill the Big Beautiful Bill.
The great Maine robbery.
But Senator Angus King calls it highway robbery on Americans and everyday Mainers. Members of the House have already passed their version of the bill.
And I encourage our Senate colleagues to think of this as a one-team effort, as we have, and to modify this as little as possible, because it will make it easier for us to get it over the line ultimately and finished and get it to the president's desk by July 4th.
President Trump and other Republicans say the bill will do a lot of good for Americans, including tax cuts for seniors and better border security.
I think this is the worst.
But Senator King doesn't agree. While the Senate is still in draft mode, he believes that chamber's version will be worse than the one in the House. King warns that Trump's plan calls for $880 billion in cuts to Medicaid. With cuts that high, he says Maine's healthcare infrastructure would crash.
This bill will cost 60,000 people in Maine their healthcare coverage. About 40,000 under MaineCare and over 20,000 under the Affordable Care Act, which is also being cut.
Loss of health care won't keep the sick from rushing through hospital doors. Maine's hospitals are nonprofits and are required to treat everyone, even the uninsured. It's treatment without pay, and hospitals in Maine are already teetering on the edge, with some reducing services and others closing their doors altogether.
About a third of Maine's budget is Medicaid. The state can't make up the difference.
Helena Woodhead is a two-time cancer survivor. She depends on MaineCare and Medicare, and the real implications of the bill have her scared.
If they take this away from me, they're literally signing my death warrant. They literally are giving me a lethal injection.
The impact doesn't stop there.
In addition, we're talking about the loss of food stamp support, SNAP support, for something not in total loss, but all or partial loss for 32,000 people.
If Mainers lose SNAP benefits by the thousands, the number of people who rely on food banks in Maine could skyrocket. Representatives from Good Shepherd Food Bank say their partners would struggle to meet increased needs.
I worry the most about children and the impact on children. As I mentioned, Maine currently has the highest rate of childhood food insecurity in New England.
President Trump says the tax and spending cuts in his bill would be good for everyday Americans and for the economy. But Senator King and those who depend on services that will face cuts say the bill isn't so beautiful. In Portland, Raya Wooten, News Center, Maine.